Borders between countries are often straightforward, following natural landmarks or established historical agreements. However, some international borders are far from ordinary, featuring bizarre divisions, odd shapes, and unusual circumstances. Here are 10 of the most bizarre borderlines between countries that defy logic and geography. 1. Bir Tawil, Egypt and Sudan. Bir Tawil is a strip of land between Egypt and Sudan that is unclaimed by either country. This 2,060 square kilometers of barren desert is one of the few places on Earth where no one wants to live. The reason? Both countries have conflicting claims over the land's ownership, with Egypt claiming it as part of Sudan, and Sudan claiming the opposite. As a result, it remains an unclaimed terra nullius. 2. Diomede Islands, USA and Russia. The Diomede Islands in the Bering Strait lie on opposite sides of the international dateline. Big Diomede belongs to Russia, and Little Diomede belongs to the United States. The strangest part, the islands are only about 2.4 miles, 3.8 kilometers, apart, and yet, they're in completely different days and time zones. One is a day ahead of the other. 3. Spain and France, the inverted pyramid. A peculiar border exists near the town of L'Hospitalet-Près Landore, between Spain and France. This unusual shape of the border is due to an ancient land dispute, with the exact coordinates creating a bizarre inverted pyramid of land that lies in both countries, leading to confusion and intrigue. 4. Canada and the United States, the 49th parallel. The border between Canada and the US along the 49th parallel is straight, but what's odd is how the line cuts through towns, rivers, and even houses. In some cases, entire neighborhoods are split by the border, and residents find themselves in different countries based on which side of the street they live on. The most famous example is the town of Darbyline, Vermont, where the library is divided into two countries. 5. Klein Matterhorn, Italy and Switzerland. The Klein Matterhorn, also known as the Little Matterhorn, is a mountain that straddles the border between Italy and Switzerland. The bizarre part, the actual borderline runs directly through the mountain, and the peak is accessible from both countries by cable car. The unique geographic location of this peak makes it one of the highest points where two countries meet. 6. The Baal-Hertog-Baal-Nassau border, Belgium and the Netherlands. The small town of Baal is divided by a complex web of borders between Belgium and the Netherlands. The borderline winds in and out of buildings, streets, and even homes. In one house, the kitchen could be in Belgium, while the living room is in the Netherlands. There are 26 Belgian enclaves within Dutch territory, and 8 Dutch enclaves within Belgium, creating a confusing, intricate maze of borders. 7. Clevier, Spain and France. The town of Clevier is an oddity in the Spanish border with France. It is a Spanish enclave surrounded by French territory, but it is located on the French side of the Pyrenees. Clevier was part of Spain before the Treaty of the Pyrenees in 1659, which resulted in its odd position within French borders. It remains a Spanish town, despite being geographically surrounded by France. 8. Gibraltar, UK and Spain. The border between the UK's Gibraltar and Spain is marked by significant political tension. Gibraltar is a British overseas territory, but Spain claims it as part of its own territory. The situation is further complicated by the fact that the border is often heavily contested and forms part of a region with historical and geopolitical disputes dating back centuries. 9. Lake Victoria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. Lake Victoria, the largest lake in Africa, serves as a border between Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. The borders around the lake are unusual because the shoreline is marked by many inlets, islands, and various stretches of water, meaning that boats can cross between countries without realizing they are moving into another nation's territory. 10. Hassel Island, United States and the Virgin Islands. Hassel Island, located in the Virgin Islands, is an uninhabited island that is part of the United States National Park but belongs to the United States Virgin Islands, a territory of the U.S. However, it exists in a very peculiar situation where its geographical location makes it seem like a distinct island state, creating some odd jurisdictional and administrative challenges. These bizarre borderlines show that international boundaries aren't always logical or straightforward. In some cases, they are the result of historical quirks, political disputes, or geographic anomalies, making the world's borders far more interesting than they might initially appear.